On this podcast, we cover sensitive subjects such as abuse, suicide, self-harm, depression, and other difficult topics. We are not medical professionals. We suffer from our own mental health issues. Our opinions should not be taken as medical advice. Dread the Stigma is for educational purposes and awareness for mental health only.
All right, we're live. I gotta try and remember how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. There we go. All right. Clear my throat. We're gonna be talking about mental health in the holidays. They don't go too well together. And we're going to discuss some tips and strategies to take and get through the holidays. And it may not be the perfect holiday, but it will be good enough for you if you use these tips and strategies. I want to thank you guys for joining me. And then we're going to talk about one particular disorder in borderline personality disorder. When talking about the holidays, we're covering all different types. We're not specifically talking about borderline. Bad anxiety, depression, all of these things, are going to be grouped into this dealing with the holidays. Whatever you are dealing with, holidays are tough. And you know what? The holidays are tough for those who may not even have any kind of mental disorder. A lot of us have lost relatives, and those memories creep back around the holidays. Can be a lot more difficult to navigate through the holidays when you do have mental health issues. I have a dual diagnosis, which means I have substance abuse disorder, alcoholism. So, that's it's kind of a 1-2 punch, if you will. In the chat room, if you want to throw your, maybe you got a story. Tell me how you deal with the stress of the holidays, mental illness or not. But if you are suffering from mental illness, I'd like to hear that if you're comfortable sharing. Let's start with some strategies to take and things to do to help you get through the holidays. I am in a hotel lobby, so please excuse any background. Number one on this list, and probably one of the most important ones, is pay attention to your feelings. It's okay. It's okay to be unhappy during the holidays. That's perfectly fine. Nobody says you have to be holly and jolly. Recognize your feelings before they get out of control. Uh, that's the first step to addressing them and dealing with them. So you got to be very aware of how you're feeling. You can develop a plan when you're feeling stressed, sad, or lonely. Um, this plan could include friends, calling friends, family, going for a walk, engaging in an activity that brings joy. A lot of times when I'm depressed, nothing does. Watching a favorite movie. Have a plan ahead of time. That way, when the time does come, you can manage it a little bit better. Um, Practice self care. It's important to schedule time for yourself. There's that background noise I told you about. It's important to schedule time for yourself and activities that recharge your mind and body. Um, that's the self care is the other one, along with paying attention to your feelings. I think are probably some of the biggest ones. You could read a book, you could work out, go out in nature, practicing stress management skills, breathing, deep breathing, meditation, mindfulness. Um, it's also important to prioritize necessities, including a good diet, getting plenty of sleep, and some exercise. Exercise releases endorphins, and that helps. Connect with the community. If you can't be near loved ones during the holidays, which some of us can, um, find a supportive community, clubs, support groups, community centers, local meetups. Faith communities can help reduce feelings of loneliness and isolation. Um, Maybe schedule a regular phone call with family and friends as well. Uh, the next one would be, we're all on social media. We all got all these friends on social media. There's no reason why this next one um, can't be done. Support others during this time of year. Grief and loss can amplify. Checking on loved ones who may be alone or struggling during the holidays. Helping a friend or neighbor not only gives joy to others, but it can improve your own happiness and well-being. I, for one, I do, uh, you know, enjoy talking to people about mental health. It is therapeutic. The big reason why I do this podcast. Um, Recognize seasonal mood changes. SAD, or seasonal affective disorder, is a condition in which people experience symptoms of depression that are triggered by the change in seasons as the days get shorter. Well, this form of depression often improves in the spring and summer. It's important to talk with your healthcare provider if you are experiencing these symptoms. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about this one because, like I said, a lot of people without any kind of mental disorder, they deal with, sadness, depression during this time of year. I don't think I have a hard time believing that this is a disorder and not strictly just okay. I'm sad because Christmas and Thanksgiving bring up memories of my mom and my grandparents. And I get sad about that. Okay, I don't believe that's something that we need to fix with any kind of medication. But definitely talking with somebody is good. And one of the other things that used to bother me when I first got sober was the holiday season. Um, that was a big time when I drank to drink a lot. And that's also when there's a lot of people um, partying, you know. Hey, Sean, what's up? I didn't have the chat up, so I didn't see who came in. Um, and that's why I see a lot of DUIs and, well, there's been a lot of violent murders that happen during the holidays. Um, Avoid the drinking, as I found out through my drinking, pouring liquor, beer on top of undealt with mental health issues is not a good idea. Um, so even if you do partake, you should probably not during extremely stressful situations like the holidays. Now, if you've practiced all of these strategies to help you feel joyful or help you feel better during the holidays, if none of them seem to work, then uh, you need to seek some help and realize that there's treatment available. Um, there's some sources that I'm going to throw this link in the chat because there are sources down here that could help you um, in getting treatment if that's what's needed. Hello, Kelly. How are you? I'm sorry I missed the Unrights Thanksgiving. It was a rough ride home. There you go. If you want to read that. Um, I know I sound so chipper. I'm trying to keep my excitement under wraps. Let's see. An interesting fact: 64% of individuals living with a mental illness reported that their conditions worsened around the holidays. It's whether due from separation from loved ones, personal grief, pressures of gift giving, economic hardships, challenging interactions with family members. Shorter days this time of year can bring unique behavioral health challenges. Um, so, by all means, I put the link to the article in the chat there. And welcome, Chaos. Shonda, how are you, dear? I put the link there in the chat. It's actually, I think it, here, let me do this. Let me see. Oh, okay. Well, it appears as if uh, that link went to the YouTube channel. Now that we got some people in the chat, I want to thank you guys for joining me. If you guys have anything you'd like to chime in on, please feel free to chime in and let's hear what do you guys struggle a lot during the holidays. I know I do. I have borderline personality disorder. I have major depressive disorder, and as well as complex post-traumatic stress. And I want to do some episodes on trauma, and it's going to be a learning experience. we're going to, in the future, talk about. I'm gonna hit my diagnosis um, first, and then get into other ones. Kelly says, "You do sometimes. This one hit hard." Um, I'm sorry to hear that. Uh, this one is kind of hitting me a little hard. I just got back a few days ago from filming a toy maker, and when I got sober, when I got sober, it was a big accomplishment, and my mom was had already passed. Dominic, how are you, sir? Um, so I always wanted to take, and I wanted her to see that I finally I finally got rid of the booze, and of course she obviously is nowhere around. Um, and then when I filmed my first lead role in a toy maker, uh, that was something I really, really wanted. Wish she was, around to experience that. Um, so it hit me really hard, and I know it's not going to be long before it gets closer to Christmas. Of course, it gets a little worse. It gets a little worse, but that's where us here in the mental health community, those of us regular Joes and Janes out here, uh, we need to keep checking in on our friends. And I believe that's very important. A simple, a simple mental health check-in with your friends could mean the world. And to be honest, it could save a life. Let's see what we got here. Kelly says, everyone remember to look around and literally count your blessings. Your people, look to them. You never know who might help fill a hole. That's absolutely right. Absolutely right. I drive that home a lot. I drive into the ground, man. Because it's so important, so important. Um, Shonda says this year's destroyed me, and as we approach the end of the year, the weight of it all is hitting hard. And it's been a rough couple years for me, but and I'm sure it has for numerous people. It has been a rough year, and but I'm trying to stay positive and think that okay, next year is going to be different. Um, I have things to look forward to. The acting. There's the day to day. Hello, Eduardo. Um, there is, the acting involved. I got some small gigs, a bigger one later on in the year. Um, so, I have a lot of things to be thankful for. And I have to take that into uh, I have to take that into next year because of these things that I got going on, and sometimes it just gets really, really rough. Even being on set, which has turned in like um, I had spoke with Aaron Hawkins, the director for Hell's Gate, and like he said, it's the set is his drug, and I can understand why. And even being on set, you know, you would think that would clear up what was ever going on in my head. It doesn't sometimes. KS says, "I'm so proud of you, brother. You come so far in the time I've had the pleasure of calling you my good friend." Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Hasn't been easy, but so far it's been worth it. Dylan, uh, listening in the car. I appreciate that, my friend. Uh, Actress Ramona, welcome, Ramona. Oh, thank you. So, as I mentioned, I want to do I want to start out with my diagnosis. And tonight I'm going to talk about borderline. That's probably one of the biggest ones that take and affect me. Um, if there's any borderlines listening, this will all resonate very much with you guys. And for those that are not, um, you are not, if you're not familiar with what borderline is, we're going to go through because we need to understand uh, what these. If you receive a diagnosis, every time I got a diagnosis, I went right to Google. I researched what this was, and sometimes I didn't believe that's what was going on. Um, and so but the more that I learned about it, the easier it was for me to recognize. And that's one of the horrible things about borderline. You're completely self-aware that maybe you're acting irrational, you're splitting, you're whatever, any of the other numerous things that borderlines do, um, and you're completely aware of it. But it's like you're not. It's not happening. You can't do anything about it. That's what it feels like, and that's why it's important to have a support system, um, and hopefully have a handful of people, um, because it could be tough on one person dealing with someone who's borderline. Um, we are a tough bunch. um, I read that therapists that deal with borderlines have therapists of their own. There's a group of them, of people, um, because we're very unpredictable. We split. One minute we'll love the help that we're getting from our therapist. The next minute we hate our therapist. Nothing's going right. Fuck therapy. That kind of thing. Uh, Sean said, you are all awesome. You are important and valued in life. Never forget that. You are more important than you know. Always know this and don't forget. Absolutely, Brian. Absolutely. Love you too, man. Um, so, and that's a big thing with this podcast is taking and educating people more on what exactly these diagnosis is. Borderline. I had to find it. And when I first got the diagnosis was technically borderline schizophrenic. Okay. Or schizoaffective. I believe that was something. But I'm thinking I'm borderline schizophrenic. That couldn't be further from the truth. But schizophrenia, mild schizophrenia, will overlap quite a bit with borderline symptoms. There's a lot of the same things as well with a lot of other. This is like if you took all the mental the health disorders and illnesses, put them in a blender, and you got a big, nice, ice cold cup of borderline. Um, but what it turned out to be is I was borderline with schizophrenic traits. Um, so I looked up what the hell borderline personality disorder was. And I was diagnosed about when I was about 26, 27, maybe. Uh, so 26 years ago, I was diagnosed with it. Um, but I forgot where I was going. So let's just get into what exactly is borderline personality disorder. And for one, a lot of therapists don't like dealing with this. Um, it was hard, and it still is kind of hard to find a therapist that's qualified in DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, or CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Um, so there is, that was hard to find. Therefore, while insurance would not pay for borderline, borderline is one of the most stigmatized uh, disorders out there. Um, I watch a lot of true crime. I can't tell you how many times they tell you about this awful crime that happened. And then they slip in that, well, he was borderline personality. He had borderline personality disorder. And there's the stigma. Media, movies are really putting the wrong info and perception, perspective of what borderline is. So I'm going to read through this from the Mayo Clinic. I will, again, I'll put this in. I know it's going right to the YouTube page. But I'll have all of these anyway, and I'll post it so you guys can take and check them out. So, borderline personality disorder is a mental health condition that affects the way people feel about themselves and others, making it hard to function in everyday life. This includes a pattern of unstable, intense relationships, as well as impulsiveness and an unhealthy way of seeing themselves. Impulsiveness involves having extreme emotions and acting or doing things without thinking about them first. People with borderline personality disorder have a strong fear of abandonment or being left alone, even though they want to have loving and lasting relationships. The fear of being abandoned often leads to mood swings and anger. It also leads to impulsiveness and self-injury that may push others away. So just with that right there, a lot of the things, two of the big things, the fear of abandonment, which is pretty much right at the top of the list, that leads to other things. That leads to possibly depression, possibly anger, self-injury. I was a cutter before it was cool and trendy. And so you can already see, and this is perceived abandonment or actual abandonment. Borderline personality disorder usually begins in early adulthood. The condition is most serious in young adulthood. Mood swings, anger, and impulsiveness often get better with age. Not me so much. But the main issues of self-image and fear of being abandoned, as well as relationship issues, go on. If you have borderline personality disorder, this is the important part. Know that you can get better. dialectical behavioral therapy, or DBT, and CBT, as I mentioned. DBT brought about by a lady named Marcia Lanahan. Uh, if you're interested in that, you can simply Google Marcia Lanahan in YouTube, or just Google. And she is pretty much the founder of DBT. She also, if I'm not mistaken, lived with BPD. Um, a lot of people do not need medication, although medication, a lot of borderlines do not need medication, although some uh, that do, I am one, use them to try and stabilize their mood, and kind of lessen the symptoms associated with it, the anxiety, the depression, the mood swings. So those three that I just named, I'm on medication to help them. And then along with that, there's psychotherapy. You're going to need to get and talk to somebody. And I need to practice what I preach, but I we'll just leave it at that. So you can live a more stable life, even if you have borderline. Welcome, Barry. Barry says the holidays are always rough for me and have been for a very long time. I fall into a deep melancholy, but try to pretend all is good for my family. But they know it's a trigger to my PTSD, and that's the thing. We try to take and stuff it down. And maybe more men do that than women, but they do it as well. They try to stuff it down, act like nothing's wrong. They don't want to be a burden on anybody's holiday. And if you have friends and family, they're not, hopefully going to see you as a burden and ruining their holidays. So it is tough. Don't be afraid to take yourself out of the situation, regardless of what day it is, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. Um, a lot of vets don't go see fireworks. There's a reason for that, PTSD. And there's a lot of reasons that some of us have a hard time, and don't be afraid to take yourself out of that situation. Let's go through some of the symptoms. Uh, these are this is the criteria for borderline. Symptoms may include a strong fear of abandonment, which we mentioned in the beginning of this article. This includes going to extreme measures so you're not separated or rejected, even if these fears are made up. A pattern of unstable, intense relationships, such as believing someone is perfect one moment and then suddenly believing the person doesn't care enough or is cruel. That is splitting. That's what they call splitting. It's black and white thinking. Quick changes in how you see yourself. This includes shifting goals and values, as well as seeing yourself as bad or as if you don't exist. Periods of stress-related paranoia, and loss of contact with reality. These periods can last from a few minutes to a few hours. The paranoia, I feel a lot. My stress levels have been up a lot outside of the holidays. Lost contact with reality, a lot of dissociation with, with all the stress, you tend to dissociate. I got a question here I want to address. Can I ask about the cost for therapy? Does insurance cover it? My medical insurance just dropped me. Um, I mean, for most, I don't know. I know for one session of for a therapist I had not that long ago, it was like 200 and some dollars, and for like that hour. It was something crazy. Not definitely not something most of us can just out of pocket. Um, Insurance should cover therapy, especially PTSD. Um, yeah, so I would say yeah, public health department for information maybe. Yeah, it's a good suggestion, Kelly. Um, Borderline, is just one of those disorders that um, is very stigmatized, and we're hard to deal with. Um, Impulsivity, as we mentioned earlier, risky behavior, gambling, dangerous driving, unsafe sex, spending sprees, binge eating, drug misuse, or sabotaging success by suddenly quitting a job or ending a positive relationship. A lot of self sabotage that goes on. Threats of suicide or self injury, often a response to fears of separation or rejection, going back to that fear of abandonment. Um, with myself, I began cutting probably around 15, 14, 15. Um, and that doing that for so long, that's the first thing my brain goes to when I'm having a really, really bad day or breakdown. My head goes right to that. And that's where the DBT and CBT will come in. Basically, with borderlines, you're rewiring your brain. You're having to learn all of the good coping skills all over again, because your bad coping skills have been wired into your brain now. Um, Wide mood swings that last from a few hours to a few days. These mood swings can include periods of being very happy, irritable, or anxious, or feeling shame. Some of I can go through probably every mood that is known to man in the span of 24 hours, and it's fucking exhausting. Ongoing feelings of emptiness. This isn't just, emptiness can be very debilitating. Inappropriate or strong anger, such as losing temper often, being sarcastic or bitter, or physically fighting. I'm a very, very sarcastic person. Um, and it comes out in a very mean way, I guess you could say, when I do, when I am sarcastic. Um, just checking out some of these new features in StreamYard. It's pretty cool. Um, so these are some things that if you know somebody with BPD, and we're about, I want to say about 3 million people. It's about 10%, I believe, of the population. Let's see. I don't know. I can't do the math, but I think it's about 3 million, 30 million, or something like that. Which sounds like a lot, but you're only looking at maybe 10% of the population. It varies between 5 and 10% of the population when you look at the numbers. Um, so education, like I said, education is what's needed. We need to educate ourselves. If you have a loved one with complex post traumatic stress disorder, which on the next episode we may talk about that. May have a guest. I would like to invite any one of you guys on if you would like to, speak on, your battles, because you're all here, so you've all succeeded so far, including myself. We've won 100% of all the battles that we didn't think we were going to win, because we're all sitting here. So if any one of you like to come on, discuss how you made it here, what you have done to ensure that you're going to, keep making it. So complex post-traumatic stress, CPTSD, that's going to be something we're going to dive into. A lot of people think that's just regular PTSD, and it is not. PTSD can come from one specific event, traumatic event, and nothing else happens after that. But that one event was so traumatic that you got PTSD. Complex PTSD is ongoing trauma that can go on for a period of years, consistent trauma. I've always said I have the trifecta of mental illness. I've been physically abused, mentally abused, and sexually abused. So with that in mind, that I have the complex PTSD. So there's, again, educate, open discussion about this. I understand a lot of people, I don't know, just don't feel that it's the right time, or they're in a place where they feel comfortable talking about what they're going through, how they manage. But we want to spread some hope that if I can make it from point A to point B, so can you. With the necessary help from for whatever you're struggling with. So I hope you guys got something out of this. Borderline personality. There's lots and lots of info out there. If you would like more on YouTube, you can go to Dr. Fox. He deals strictly with personality disorders, specifically borderline. There's also another YouTube channel that I like to frequent, and that is Med Circle. They cover all different types of disorders and conditions, mental health wise. In fact, the gentleman that started it, I think it's a guy that started Med Circle, suffers from borderline, has borderline. So you can check them out for more information. I'm going to try and get some more information on the YouTube page. Please go over there, subscribe if you have not. Maybe eventually I will just have people go to the YouTube page instead of Facebook, just to drive more traffic over there. I'm trying to get things going again. The movie projects and life kind of kept me out of the podcast seat, but I'm back. This will probably, for right now, be a every other week, every other Sunday. It could be, hi, Sophia. Sophia was our lovely makeup artist on a toy maker. So yeah, I went to I want to get the mental health podcast back up and going more consistently. Um, and Barry said, DM me if you want him. I may be able to help you with a little more info. Okay, Kelly. Okay, good. See, helping each other, find connections so we can get straight. We can we can prepare ourselves for the holidays. One more thing I wanted to add is um, yeah, I think Sophia says, yeah, I think we all need it. Yes, please. You have a divorce group. Yes. Awesome. Sophia is awesome. I hope to work with her again. Her and her significant other, Anna, were just absolutely amazing on set. Um, but yeah, it can be a rough time. The main thing I want you guys to take away from this is check on your friends. It doesn't take the 2 seconds to, if you know somebody is struggling. Oh, thank you, Sophia. You rock too. No, you rock. Oh, this one will get Sophia. Yeah, she'll know what that means. I got her laughing so hard she farted. Yeah, in the makeup chair while doing my makeup. Um, a little on-set humor, but yeah, see, I knew she liked that one. Yeah, check on your friends. Doesn't take but a couple seconds. Say, hey, mental health check-in. How are you? You may catch somebody in a bad mood. You may be the reason that they climb out of that hole. You may you never know with some people. You may save their life, and so it's always worth, you know. At least if they don't respond, well, at least you can say you tried, but they don't respond, and I know they're down. I've gone to friends of theirs, like, hey, have you talked to so and so? I have not. I'm worried about them. Um, we've had, way too many. Suicide's an epidemic. And like I said before, I'm not going to call it unaliving yourself. I'm not making money off of this. This is for just educational purposes. Really, I'm not a doctor. um, oh well, thank you, Barry. I like to see more people stepping up and you know screaming about mental health system on a nationwide level. I think is I don't know what to think about it. Love you too, Bob. Yeah, we're definitely going to catch up here soon. Uh, Woodson, how are you? Woodson was our wonderful set photographer. We just had an awesome crew. I can't say enough. Um, so with that being said, I'm going to close this whole shebang down. I want to thank each and every one of you for popping on and taking some time out of your Sunday evening. Again, I hope you got something out of the talk on borderline. Please check it out if you know anybody who is borderline, and you deal with him, and maybe you can't understand like what the hell's wrong with you. It's a lot of people have been misdiagnosed with bipolar. I was. misdiagnosed with bipolar, and borderline when I was actually borderline. That is very common. Um, so with that being said, so real quick, Sophia says it's not easy, but good friends will be there in your ups and downs. That's right. The real ones will stay. Had a lot of friends that just up, ziggity boo, out the door when they see how I am. And then, there's the real ones that, will see you through your ups and downs. So, hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Um, and Again, if you need more research on borderline, it is out there. It is definitely out there. Um, Thank you, Otis. I learned a lot from just listening to you. We all suffer from something. Have a good night. You have a good night too. Um, and thank you. I'm glad you did get a little something out of it, especially if you're out of control. Sophia is out of control. Uh, so, have a great rest of your Sunday. And, remember discussion, open discussion after open discussion. And we can slowly start taking uh, the stigma. We can slowly start chipping away at the stigma. Um, because we need to. We need to. It's bad enough. It's bad enough that you know it's hard for some of us to find help, and then when you have society thinking you're crazy, and that turns into more trauma. Uh, My buddy Mark shows up, says mental health system needs a bit of an overhaul, especially in children. I agree. I couldn't agree more. I was very against medication for myself, for anybody. I thought it was more of a chemical lobotomy. But I found the right medication that does help. I notice a difference. But children can be so over medicated. It's sickening. It's unbelievable what we do to our children when it comes to that. Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Farmer. How are you, buddy? You guys pop in at the last minute. That's all right. It's going to be on YouTube. Dread the Stigma podcast on YouTube. So, all right. With that being said, you guys have a great Sunday, and we'll see you soon. Take care of yourself and each other. Didn't somebody else say? Oh, that was Jerry Springer. I just did it, Jerry Springer. Take care of yourself and each other. See you soon, guys.